everybody. Welcome to the SkySwitch University webinar series. Good morning, I'm Jason Jones of SkySwitch. On behalf of the entire SkySwitch team, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us to learn more about the new ReachUC Communicator with Chris Bloom of Mondago. Chris specializes in account management, growth, and new accounts acquisition at Mondago, and is quite an experienced sales maker and a seasoned telecom and technology expert. He's got a lot of great information for you today. I think you're going to find his presentation intuitive and spur a lot of questions. Before we get started, you know we always have quick announcements over here at SkySwitch. So I want to remind everybody about our Vectors Conference. That's coming up this October 27th through the 30th. And it's going to be in Orlando at the gorgeous Low Sapphire Falls Resort. It's going to be an incredible, I would say, 3 days of just connecting and learning and sharing information. The whole theme this year is about embrace and transform. And you know, you can't really transform your company until you're ready to embrace some change, embrace some technology that's going to show you a path to that. So we're really excited about the format of this year and what's going on. And I just want to make some announcements too. We've just locked in 2 of our keynote speakers, which is Jeff Pulver. He is the vice chairman of Alchemist, and Jeff was also a co-founder of Vonage. So he'll be predominantly giving the main keynote address. And then we have Jim Keenan, which is coming and goes as Keenan, and he's the CEO and president of A Sales Guy. He's got a new book out called Gap Selling. It is an amazing book, and it's going to be able to teach your business through closing more deals. So, and besides that, we have just tons of other learning and experiences. So to register, just go to vectors2019.com, get registered today. We are getting ready to start here, but I just want to tell you about the format real quick. I'm going to be moderating the webinar today, and Chris will present the slide deck in its entirety, and then we're going to conduct a QA session immediately after. So I encourage all participants out there to type in any and all your questions into that question widget in your GoToMeeting plugin. And then as always, we're going to be recording today's webinar, and then we will post that on the SkySwitch YouTube channel, and then we'll also send it to all the participants via email immediately after the webinar. Okay, let's settle in and get prepared to get educated by one of the industry's best technology voices in the business, Mr. Chris Bloom of Mondago. The floor is all yours, Chris.
Thank you, Jason. I don't think anybody said such nice things about me ever before. Okay. All right, so click to start sharing screen here. Is it giving me the option here? Can you see my screen share here? There we go. Hopefully we can see this SkySwitch ReachUC Communicator page on my main screen here.
We got it.
Awesome, awesome. So as Jason so kindly introduced me, my name is Chris Bloom. I'm with Mondago. I am currently in our Scottsdale offices. It's supposed to be about 106 over here, but we don't have the same humidity that Jason does over there in Florida. We're actually headquartered out of the UK. We've been in the telephony or CTI industry for about 20 years now, and as we all know, where this is headed is hosted products. So we've partnered with SkySwitch to offer ReachUC. What they were really asking me to do was kind of tailor this to kind of help you sell it. And I think that's sometimes difficult to do. I'm not in the field every day. I'm not face to face with these customers. So I take the requests, the questions that I get from our partners of, we'd really like this, we'd really love that, or this is what we're seeing in the market. And kind of that's how we continue to develop our product. So I think what I was really hoping to do today with some of these slides is, excuse me, just really get you thinking about it. what to ask. There's some information in here about what we've found is going on with the market with CRMs, and I'll kind of hit a couple points home. And then the big thing is just a kind of a high level understanding of what do the license types do, where do we fit in the marketplace with your customers. So I'll go ahead and click through to my next slide here. Bunch of really boring statistics here. There's a couple that I, excuse me, that I regurgitate all the time. I think they really hit home. So this is not my information, by the way. We took all this from credible sources, and I think we cited them here. The big one here is over 90% of businesses with 10 or more employees use a CRM. In my opinion, that's a really high amount of businesses that are using a CRM. Most employees, most businesses have at least 10 employees that are sitting in an office setting. CRM sales increased by 30%, by up to 29%, or CRM increases sales up to 29%, proves productivity. We all know this. These are the whole reason that people buy a CRM. These are facts that the CRM vendors regurgitate to their customers to say, hey, buy our product. A couple more that I don't quite have on here would be 40% of salespeople still use informal methods like spreadsheets and email programs. I am beyond guilty of this. I've been in telecom long enough where we're all using manila file folders, and I still dig into my desk when somebody asks me about a particular customer. As we know, there's tons of CRMs in the market. There's an independent website that I like to draw back to. It's called G2, and they do a lot of research on different CRMs in the market. They reviewed about 379 different CRMs, and only 18% of those have a 4 or a 5-star rating. You'll kind of see the ones they reviewed here on this list, and you'll know a lot of these names. Way up here at the head of that bell curve is obviously your Salesforces. And then kind of mixed in here in the rest of the market, you'll find some big names in here. We'll find HubSpot. They've kind of found their place in the market. Sugar found right here in the middle. I'm sure Zoho and a few others are hidden here as well. So let me go back to my PowerPoint here. As we all know, Salesforce is the largest provider of CRM software in the world. In 2017, they increased their revenue by over a quarter. They are hands down the world leader in CRM integration, or excuse me, with CRMs. They claim almost 20% of the global market. That was in 2017. We're a year and a half later. I'd have to assume that's even higher. What's next? Oracle actually has the second largest share in the global CRM market, which is about 8%. Oracle, the big product that they're offering would be NetSuite. And so you'll start to see a lot of these repeat names. Kind of what I'm getting at with some of these is I think a lot of our customers are using the same applications because they're a good fit for them as is. You will find a lot of specific one-off niche CRMs, and we can tackle those as well, and I'll kind of go into some of that. So this is why we've created ReachUC. You have your customers who are already paying for a CRM, and they're running a business, so they need dial tone of some sort. ReachUC is really that middleware product. It adds a little more value to the entire solution here, and it ties two things that businesses already have and they have to have. So it's a great fit, in my opinion, for a good majority of your customers. So what do we do here? You'll see the acronym CTI, Computer Telephony Integration. What we mean by that is we specifically take a look at phone number and phone number only. So some benefits of the product here. Know who's calling before the call is answered. Actually, some of these slides are a little out of order, so I'll kind of explain and we'll be jumping around a little bit. That's kind of how I roll. I hope that's okay. Our caller ID preview box, which we'll show some examples of here in a minute. And I use this example quite a bit. How many of us now receive spam phone calls in a given day on our cell phone? And a lot of times I'm going to guess those phone numbers match the NPA NXX of your phone number in an attempt to get you to answer it. While I realize on our cell phones, most of us are screening those calls. Maybe we'll let them go to voicemail before we answer them. How nice is it when that phone caller, when that when that number is stored, whether it's in your phone or on your PC, in your Outlook or your CRM, to know who is calling you before you answer the phone. If you have to answer the phone anyways, like all of us do as a business, it's still much nicer to know who is calling you. You'll see this on our small toaster pop-up we call Caller ID Preview. So obviously you're getting the details on the screen pretty quickly. Because we know who's calling, it's going to let me improve my call handle. I can answer specific to, thank you for calling, what are your questions about ReachUC today, as opposed to, thank you for calling Mondago, what are you calling me about today? At the end of the day, we know this is going to improve our customer service, or our customers' experience and our customer service for them. Quick dialing of contacts, there's a number of ways to do this, whether it's off a web page, out of our CRM, a thick client, Skype, Outlook, etc. There's a local address book built into ReachUC. I kind of refer to this affectionately as the poor man's CRM. We'll explain the two license types here in a little bit. But for those people that are not using a CRM or that are using manila file folders or Outlook like I do as my CRM, it's a great option for them as well. And when you have multiple integrations running, whether it be CRMs and Outlook, Google Contacts, a blast from the past, Lotus Notes, you can locate those contacts in one space rather than having to search them individually. I might have skipped one here. So as I mentioned, we'll talk, and I think this is important to know, about the two license types. What I want to clarify is it's the same ReachUC. It is the same product, the same download. The licenses are just limits what you can do specific to each of them. So we offer an Express license and a CRM license. Cost is a little different on both, and I'll kind of give my opinion of where I think both of them are a good fit and what the differences are between them. So same basic functionality for both licenses: call control, address book search, click to dial, caller ID preview. Both of these versions are offering integration into what we call some real basic standard integrations here. So we have Microsoft Outlook, which will include the thick client and Outlook webmail. Lotus Notes, I don't run into too many of those customers anymore. Google Contacts. And another really important one, and I think it will be for a number of years still, would be integration with Skype. This is an auto update of the Skype status to show on a call or not, and the ability to dial out of Skype using the desk phone or the soft phone application. I know we're transitioning to Teams here in the future, and that's something we're aware of. We'll continue to add this type of functionality into the product. What changes between them is when we add in integration with the CRM, we bump up to, as you might guess, a CRM license. The differentiation between the CRM license is ultimately allowing us to caller ID preview the person based on the name as it's found in the CRM that you're working out of, and there's a few hundred that we integrate with. This list I don't really like because it kind of shows that both licenses are the same here. Again, the biggest differentiator between the two licenses would be the Express license is ultimately integration with Outlook, Google Contacts, Lotus Notes, and Skype. The CRM license is when we add in a CRM that we want to integrate with. The ability to click to dial from just about anywhere is found within both licenses, but ultimately the CRM license is what allows for popping to a contact record within a CRM. So this screen right here is the configuration or the screen that you'll see once you download the client. ReachUC will live in your taskbar. It's a little gray square with the initial download. What it's doing ultimately after entering your credentials is saying, I'm monitoring this desk phone, whatever your extension or direct dial number might be. Am I on hook or am I off hook? If I'm off hook, who am I off hook with? So this is our initial setup screen here. The great thing is we'll see some call history, so we'll store the last couple hundred misplaced and received calls. One of the things I really like is if that phone number was found in the CRM one of the CRMs I'm integrated with, it will actually continue to display that name in the call history window as opposed to defaulting to unknown caller or wireless caller. Again, we mentioned in address books, this is one location to be able to, down here, put in a name, a company name, a phone number to search all the databases I'm integrated with. And again, these databases could be a CRM or it could be something as simple as your Outlook or your Google Contacts menu as well. And then the ability to control the handset or the soft phone from the product as well. This is going to be an answer and terminate the phone call right from the desktop client as well. So one of the features of both of the products, I like to clarify that. So both products have the click to dial feature functionality as part of it. I always like to clarify when someone will say, can you integrate with XYZ CRM, to always come kind of backtrack and say, well, what do you mean by integrate? Because we do run into a handful of people that say, I am given 60, 70 leads a day, and I smile and dial out of a database. This could also be an Excel doc or a Word doc or a PDF. And all I do is dial off this list, ask if they would like to purchase our product or attempt to convert this lead into an opportunity. When you're working off of a website, which most CRMs now are browser-based, this little blue phone icon is actually what's going to display to let me know, hey, we think this is a phone number. A click on these phone numbers ultimately takes the desk phone off hook or the soft phone off hook and initiates the outbound dial with one single click. One great question I'm sure I'll receive is, which browsers do we support? So of course, Internet Explorer and Edge, Google Chrome and Firefox. It's a small add-in that gets added to your browser called telephone number detection, which allows us to recognize phone numbers like this. Address book search, I talked on a little bit here, or I've already touched on a little bit here. The address book search will ultimately give me search the different databases I'm integrated with. This could be something as simple as I mentioned, Outlook, Google Contacts, or any number of CRMs. One thing I'll clarify too is one license will theoretically let you integrate with 4 simultaneous CRMs. What those CRMs are does not matter. I think you'll find that most customers pick one CRM that they commit to because they're costly. And then they'll also have an integration with something like Microsoft Outlook or Google Contacts. Outlook, I think, is common in the business environment. I find Google Contacts common is more of a personal type of integration. The quick dial, this is kind of a play on the address book search here as well. So you can see here, we've started to type in a certain name. We've done a quick search into the database that I'm working out of. The +44, some of these screenshots are from my UK office here, 44 being their country code extension. The recent dial, again, this would be misplaced and received calls. You'll see we're keeping the name with the phone number as we've found it in the database I'm working in. This would be an example of a number that's not recognized or found in a database I'm working in. The rest of these would ultimately be linked back to some sort of CRM or database I'm working out of. And where we really come in the best would be popping to a CRM. So I'll do a quick kind of what do we integrate with, how to find that list as we wrap up this PowerPoint here. But ultimately, it's about 200 different CRMs. 30 or so of them are found right in the product. There's a quick, easy add-in guide as far as how to set them up. This is where the product really shines though. In this case, you'll see here in the screenshot, this is our caller ID preview. We'll see the ability to answer the call here and deflect the call or hang it up. We're identifying this phone number as found within Salesforce in this case. This is a screenshot of Salesforce Classic, and the small Salesforce icon here showing me this is where I found this contact record. So real quick while we're on the subject, Salesforce Classic and Salesforce Lightning are both supported in this case. A manual pop to this record would ultimately be me clicking on the Salesforce icon, but we do offer the ability to auto pop to a record if we recognize a phone number. This is possible on ringing, on answer, or on outbound, and we can kind of dig into that if you have any more questions on that. So what do we integrate with? So I know that there's currently an integration with ConnectWise through a different product. Ultimately, it is one that's supported with us as well. There's about 200 plus different CRMs. As I mentioned, 30 or so of them, in my opinion, are what you'll spend 98% of your time on. Hands down, the most common integration that's used is Salesforce. Kind of followed, in my opinion, after this by Microsoft Dynamics, NetSuite, and then as we kind of see stragglers in there would be the Zohos, Sugars, Goldmine. There's a few others that you'll hear. There are some that I've found over the last couple years that are really growing in popularity. One of the big ones there would be Zendesk, and another one would be HubSpot. They obviously have a very specific purpose or specific use within the market, and it's great to know that those are all supported. I'll show you where we can find this searchable list here when we wrap up as well. So kind of a quick list here of some of the integrations that we offer I've covered on. This is not the greatest way to look at these because this changes on a monthly basis. I'm finding that we're adding anywhere from 2 to 4 new integrations a month. These generally are going to be a little more niche market CRMs that you'll see us integrating with based on requests, and that's another process we can cover in another session as well. Those integrations that we support are broken down into 2 buckets. And again, I'll show this screen and the actual web page here because it's a great resource, and I would ask that you bookmark that resource as well when we wrap up. So we break these integrations down into 2 buckets. This would be what we call standard integration. I like to call these the heavy hitters of the market, and a controlled integration. Feature functionality is generally the same. It's our 4 core features, which would be address book search, click to dial, caller ID preview, and manual and auto pop of the record. Coming soon to the product, we will have activity logging in a handful of CRMs as well. And we'll continue to update that, and I'll kind of show you where to find that information and which CRMs will support that in, and also give you an ETA of when we'll have that feature functionality as well. So this page I'll show here in a few minutes, but the big things to grab from here are it's a standard integration, this icon is green, and what specific features of the CRM are supported, which we see down here. There'll also be a notes section, which is cut off from this slide here that I'll show as well. It'd be something to take a look at to make sure if it's version specific or not. The controlled integration, what I'd ask if you come across the controlled integration, which I'll show you again on the search, we'll see a different color here. It's this orangey color. It mentions it's controlled. There is a remote installation process on this where my team does get involved with unlocking the specific CRM within the product. Feature functionality is generally the same. It's just more of a CRM that was added, or it was a specific request. It was added to the product at some point in time, but we want to be part of the implementation process to ensure that everything goes well and the customer experience is the best. So what do we do here? Why do we care about all this? Ultimately, increasing customer satisfaction. This is something we're looking to do with every customer. Identify and return those missed calls. I know I'm not at my desk all day, every day, so the ability to sit down, see who's called me, but also maybe take a quick glance at that record or what I talked about last with that person is great. We use this metric here that we're able to save about 20 to 25 seconds over contact lookup in a CRM that we're working out of. You could obviously see in a large volume inbound or outbound call center where this could have huge implications. The ability to recognize that caller as one, but maybe be looking at the record and an understanding of what I've talked about or where that opportunity is on my business process while we're exchanging pleasantries, I think is super important. So it's not just for businesses with high inbound or outbound call center or high inbound or outbound calls. In my opinion, it's for anyone and everyone who's using a CRM, because again, it's 2 things they're already paying for, dial tone and CRM. Let's tie the 2 together at a really low cost per seat. I'll let Jason, if you wouldn't mind, we'll come back to this slide in just a few minutes because there's a few quick things I wanted to cover on a Chrome extension here. So we did cover this as well. So G2 is a firm that kind of rates satisfaction with the different CRMs. It's something we rely pretty heavily on here. But again, one of the statistics that I had gone back to was the level of satisfaction with some of those CRMs as opposed to others is very different. You'll also find here the niche market. You'll see very, very specific CRMs that are meant for veterinary clinics, hospitals, heating and cooling companies. And a lot of those are supported CRMs with us, but they won't come up as often as applications like Salesforce. I'm assuming this is going to be Dynamics, Zoho, Zendesk, etc. So a great source of information in the immediate future, and we're working on creating all of this and bringing this to your team as a resource so you're not drawing back to ours. At sapiens.gocommunicator.com, I would ask that you hit the Integrations tab here and find this drop-down. This page here, when it loads for me, make this a bookmark. This will always give you the answer of what is the most current supported integration of this product. Is it supported? If so, what features are supported? And is it a controlled or is it a standard integration? And we can see here when we start to search, we're going to get the results. In this case, we'll see Classic and Lightning for Salesforce. I'll go ahead and click on this search result here. You'll see a screen that looks very familiar here. So in this case, we can see Salesforce as a standard integration, which features are supported in the product. Again, we are working on adding the feature functionality, which would offer the activity logging within Salesforce and a number of other CRMs. Always take a quick peek at the notes. Some of these will make a lot of sense to you of this is the specific version. In this case, it's to a previous version, so it can kind of be ignored. You'll also see down here at the bottom of this search window, there are some videos here. We're working on updating these, but this kind of shows the product in action. I would also say get a copy of ReachUC. You set up an integration with the CRM that you're using. There are a number on the market that you can set up for free or run as trials. Salesforce, Zoho are a few examples of that. Go back to our main search page here. You can see the entire lists split up right here in the top under standard and controlled as well. I'm not a big fan of searching this way, and I'll actually click on and this explains why. When I click controlled here, it starts to spell out the different applications that we integrate with. The reason I don't like clicking this is because we are spelling out each individual version of the product, in this case 8.3, 8.2, 8.1, you get the idea. So I always suggest running a quick search here of the product and narrowing down to the specific search result. If you don't find the search result in here, please reach out to your account manager or the SkySwitch team to discuss kind of next steps, because the great thing is doesn't necessarily mean that we can't do it or can't accommodate that new integration request. And last but not least, I'll do a kind of a quick run through of ReachUC here. It is installed. Unfortunately, I'm not connected. I don't have credentials in just yet. We are installed down here in the tray bar. It's gray because I'm not monitoring a specific extension just yet. When I am connected to my desk phone, ultimately the icon would go green on here, showing me, hey, I'm monitoring your desk extension. Hopefully this screen here looks a bit familiar. The configuration screen, I'd recommend a quick run through of the product, just so you know what some of these options are. One of the things I want to point out here is all throughout the product, you'll find these blue question marks. These are your guides. Our goal here is to make a product that is very self-sufficient. The answers are in the product. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, but I really do feel like you'll find a lot of the information you need all throughout the product with these blue question marks. Again, hopefully some of this screen here is setting up our specific browser-based extension, which you'll see right here. I'm a Chrome user, obviously. The different types of dialing, web page dialing, clipboard dialing out of items like PDFs, Excels, PowerPoints, etc. Application dialing, meaning dialing out of thick client applications. And ultimately here in our integration list, these would be our standard integrations that you'll find right in the product. You can run up to 4 simultaneous integrations, as I had mentioned. We'll give an example of what setting one of these up looks like. I simply select the CRM I'm working out of, click set, and I'm not licensed for it in this case. There are multiple ways to authenticate. I always suggest to draw back to the guide here. We call these add-in guides on how to specifically set these up. And Jason, if you wouldn't mind, I'll leave this to you on how to order the product, and then hopefully we have some good questions from the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Great information, Chris. Thanks very much for all that detail there. I think I think the reseller base is really looking forward to taking this to market and getting out there and start selling it. The order form, you can just click on the link here and go to this order form. You're going to find this in your documentation in your help center, or what we call Levio, inside your Dash Manager. So there's a little form in there. Just go ahead and fill that out. We are doing MSA renewals right now. So we have a dedicated staff, Tracy Sprinkle, who's working on all MSA renewals. The pricing of this will be in your MSA renewals too, and the pricing of it, real quick for you guys, it's very, very simple. The ReachUC CRM is $5 per license, per subscriber, and the Express is $1. So it's very inexpensive. It's a great way for you to get it in. It's a little bit different from the last CRM integrator that we had. It was a bit more expensive. We feel this is priced very competitively to allow you to go out there and get that click to call business that you're looking for, what your customers are screaming for. So this is a good way to get this done. Of course, we're going to be sending this presentation out to you and it's recording, so you'll have everything. But going forward, I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. Chris, I think you did a great job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think what we're going to do now, Chris, we're going to get into the Q&A. I'm going to get the questions up to you. And then since you're the expert, we're just going to rely on you to answer those. So as you update Outlook or CRM contacts, will the ReachUC tool do real-time updates as well?
It will. So that's actually a great question. So we are using the native APIs of these CRMs. So we're not creating, or in some cases we are using cache data, and that's a limitation of the CRM, but I'll kind of speak in general here. The native APIs. So although I have not logged into Salesforce this morning, and in fact, it's probably been since at least mid last week, if a call were to come in right now, to my ReachUC, it's using the API to dip into Salesforce and do a live search right now. So if I added this contact 10 minutes ago or 1 minute ago, and a new phone call comes in, because we're doing a new live search and using the API, that information is updated immediately, and I would see that contact record and be able to pop to it. There are a few integrations. These are generally limited to, it's a limitation of the CRM where it does use cache data. It kind of runs in the background. It auto updates every 60 minutes. You can change this if it's not something you want. Ultimately, looks the same, feels the same. You probably wouldn't know that that's happening. But the only real difference here is if I added a new record and I was in the middle of a cache cycle, let's say at 30 minutes, as a worst case scenario in this scenario would be after 30 minutes, a quick recache of the contacts. Again, it's all happening in the background. You'd have no idea. That contact would then show up on an address book search or an inbound or outbound phone call.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Next question here. We use Linux in our office. The Chrome plugins work fine, but Firefox not so much. Also, we have Sweet CRM, which is a fork of Sugar CRM. Please, please, please support Sugar CRM. We'll start with Linux. Let's start with Linux there too, right?
So unfortunately, we are a PC application only at this time. We are a little slow on the development of the Mac platform, and we are by no means experts in it. We do have a team that's working on this. So at this time, we are a PC application only.
Super. And is there any roadmap for that development this year, next year?
Yeah, if it's okay, I can speak roadmap. So
Absolutely.
kind of Where we're headed, we understand the most of us don't mind running a thick client running on our PC. We do run into the occasional Chromebook user. We do run into, there obviously is a market for Mac, and it tends to be unique to what I've found geographical. Also, we found Mac users tend to use certain CRMs. Where we're headed as far as a client that's usable on all, not PCs, all computers, would be a Chrome client. And the Chrome client will run as an extension. The great thing is it keeps itself up to date. It uses Chrome pop-ups or the Chrome notifications rather than our thick client pop-ups. So kind of roadmap, that's where we're heading. In our opinion, it helps take care of the Mac base. And then for PC users, it's great. Again, I'm a Chrome user, so if I leave my PC here at the office and I go home, I turn on my PC there, my Chrome follows me. It's not something I have to install in multiple places. So roadmap-wise, a Chrome extension would be in development with us now.
Yep, fully understand. Kind of kind of the best path, and
Yeah.
resistance there too. Yeah.
And the second question was sugar,
Go ahead.
I believe.
Yep, Sugar CRM. Please.
Yeah, so let's take a quick peek here. Sugar is one of our more, I would say it's in the top 10. In this case, we do a great job of even back to version 5. It looks like the most recent version we've tested is up to version 8, somewhere between 8 and 9, and it is a standard integration found right in the product.
We have a couple. We have a couple more questions about CRM support. So
yeah,
you guys, look at these. If you go to this integrations link, it's going to allow you to drill in and look at these for yourself. It's going to be important. So I just want to make sure everybody can self-serve. But is it Suite CRM is another one? Is Suite CRM supported?
I'll have to dig into that. I know the name, and it just keeps showing up as
NetSuite. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I think we can kind of take offline. But let's take a look into. Ooh, that one's NetSuite there. Yeah, that's one we can take a look at. It's one I have some familiarity with. We can take a peek at after we wrap up here, if that's okay.
Yep. So I understand that Suite CRM is based off Sugar 6 dot whatever. So we'll take it offline and some other time. Another question about a CRM while we're here was about EagleSoft. It's a dental software specific.
EagleSoft is not one, so kind of real high level, and I would ask that if we have any specific ones, do a quick search here. Again, netsapiens.go, communicator.com. SkySwitch will have its own branded version of this, so you're not having to draw back to ours here in the near future. But bookmark this. We can talk specific CRM integrations kind of offline. I'd ask that you reach out to your team, and then I'd be happy to hop on a call. You can see here we have part of this when we don't find a result. There's a new integration request. What I'll leave you with is we've investigated hundreds, if not thousands of CRMs. We do this more as a request. We wait for you to come to us to say, hey, is this application supported? If it's not, we do an investigation, and ultimately we can take a look at, is there an API that can support our features? There is a small nominal one-time build cost. Again, that's something we'll kind of take offline, and it's unique to each individual CRM. But ultimately, we can accommodate a new build if we can find we can support our current feature set. It's a few-week build process. The great thing is, anybody who's requesting this across any product set, this could be an EagleSoft user in Belgium saying, I use a CRM called EagleSoft. If someone in Asia or Australia pays to have that integration added to our product, it gets rolled to our product as a whole. So it's something that your customers can take advantage of as well. So I'll leave it with, we've investigated it, and I believe it's somewhere in that investigation process right now, but it is not a currently supported CRM of ours.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Hmm?
The next question, Randy, I think we answered that for you. It's going to be PC, not Mac right now. Look to the Chrome browser and the Chrome extensions in the future to
Hmm.
support Mac. Um, SMS portion. My customers are asking for a downloadable text stream so they can save their streams.
Not sure. I'm not sure I understand that one.
Not sure I'm getting that one either. Maybe we can save that one. Maybe you can talk to more of a little bit of a description in another question, and we'll get to that one a little bit later. Does the screen pop also store the record of the call in the CRM automatically?
Not yet. So right now, the 4 core features are address book search, click to dial, caller ID preview, and then popping to the record both manually and auto. We see down here the automatic activity logging and manual activity logging. The website, the features of this have already been updated because we're working on a release of the product. It will be rolled in the hopefully the coming weeks here. We're wrapping up some final testing here. Kind of real high level and real quickly, we support what we call activity logging. What most of your users will call it is call logging, and about 10 CRMs. This would specifically be Salesforce, NetSuite, ConnectWise, Sugar, HubSpot, Zoho. There's a few others I'm missing, but to be honest with you, they have names I've never heard of, and I don't think they're common here in the US. Salpo might be one. So right now, it is strictly limited to the popping of the contact record. You will you will always see updates of the product. We'll continue to add more feature functionality. As soon as that's released, I'd love to have a big bulletin of this is activity logging is released, and it's released in these applications. The great thing is for customers who already have the integration set up with the application, a quick update, and they now will have extra functionality that is part of the CRM license. There is no more additional license, no nickel and dime. It is just part of the CRM license. So look for this in the coming weeks to add activity logging to about 10 of our CRMs. Since I'm looking at it, Sugar specifically is one of those CRMs as well.
Okay, thank you. And I want to kind of push through this a little bit. We've got a ton more questions here,
Okay,
so
good.
I want to get through all these. So, what about new record pop-ups if the inbound phone number is not found in the CRM?
If the number, so we are strictly doing, and I mentioned CTI, Computer Telephony Integration, we are strictly focusing on phone number. If the phone number is not found, or excuse me, if it is not a contact, or the phone number that they're calling on is not found in the CRM, your caller ID preview will simply state the caller ID as the phone company would push it. Ultimately, this would be wireless caller, Michigan call, Florida call, etc. There are some kind of neat ways to work around creating a quick contact. The one thing I'll state is we can assist in creating a contact, but we cannot autofill any of the information.
Okay, but you could pop up, add a new contact, and you could just add it in right there while they're on the phone, add the phone number in, and you got it. You save it, and it's going to save it to the CRM, correct?
So this would, yes, correct. So this would be a great reason that we use an event right here. An event right here, ultimately I can say a custom button, I can do text, add contact. Parameter here, I can take the URL of a CRM after I click on the add contact button, paste this here, and control paste isn't working for me, and ultimately create a custom button in my caller ID preview window that will allow me to quick add a contact.
Perfect. Okay, so with that said, about timeline to roll out call activity logging into the CRM records.
We are currently testing as of yesterday and this morning. I have a few specific actual users in the marketplace right now, specifically testing with Salesforce. I would hope the first step in the process when we roll it into the roll it into ReachUC would be making sure that Jason and his team are really putting it through its paces, testing with specific CRMs. As soon as they give the sign off, ultimately it's something that should be rolled out to the market for your marketplace product and the product that you're offering to your customers. I'm never one that likes to promise dates or timelines or deliveries, so you'll find that about me because I hate to disappoint. I'd like to see it in the following few weeks here.
Okay. Are there any additional charges for the controlled installations?
There is, and this is something I would ask that you reach out to Jason and his team specifically for. There is a one-time cost per customer, not per user. So if we have 800 or 8 users of Copper CRM, which is a Google product, I believe, it is a one-time remote installation, and that cost is something I would ask that you work through the SkySwitch team to figure out what that might be.
And if I had the answer to that right now, I would actually let you know what it is, but right now I currently do not have it, but I will get it and make sure that we update everybody to that pricing. Okay. So that goes to the next question. Are there any professional services offered by Mondago, by your team, for like very large installations, maybe some custom installations? Is that something that you offer?
There can be. It's not something we get approached with very often. It's to be honest with you, the remote installation is available on any of the CRMs, including the ones found in this list. I think our hope, our expectation here is that it's a very self-service product. Ultimately, how do I set up Sugar? Here's the guide here. I guess I would say, generally speaking, it's not something we typically get involved with. It's a here's the download, make a quick cheat sheet for those customers on how to set things up. If you did have a specific instance or a specific opportunity, I would absolutely say, hey, reach out. Let's discuss the best way to distribute it, the best way to set up the specific CRMs, maybe talk about how to send out as an MSI. So if you have any specific opportunities that are larger and you'd like to consider that, it's something we can absolutely have a conversation on.
Great, great. With your partners out there and your integrations, what is the suggested retail for these products that you're seeing out there? You're seeing other service providers utilizing out there, and what would be a great price point?
So I don't know if I'll give you a great price point, but what I'll say, and this is my opinion, where we like to be is a product that adds this extra functionality that when you quote it to your customer, they're not really having to sleep on it. They're not having to say, let me think about this. Let me run this past the other partners. As anybody who's ever sold door to door, let me ask my spouse what they think. We all know this is a pushback because the price is a little too high for them to just be able to commit on right there on the spot. So we are a complementary product to their CRM and the dial tone ultimately that you're offering to them and is part of their package. I find if your pricing is a little too high, you'll find they have to think about it and it may not fit well with it. Ultimately, it's really up to you, but I find in the $5 to maybe $8 per seat, that value is different to everyone. You'll find a customer who says it's great, but I don't really need it. I could live without it. The polar opposite of that would be, if you can't offer me this feature, I won't go with you. And I think you'll find most people are right there in the middle. So ultimately, it's a great add-on product, but I would keep it in the range of where someone doesn't need to really think about how much is this adding to my bill and do I see the value in that? Keep it in a price range where it's something they can commit to quickly.
Let me add on to that too. Ring Central, for example, for them to include integration with Salesforce, Zendesk, and Desk.com, that's in their premium. I would say their premium plan, which is $34.99 per month. So that kind of gives you an idea. They're offering those three and limited to those three. Well, I think that with Mondago, you've got a lot more flexibility, and it's going to allow you to create a better service offering. Okay, so that kind of gives you, just an example of what you can get, or maybe you can get a little more too on that compared to some of the others. And if you all just want to go to Ring Central, 8x8, go to Vonage, go to Nextiva, look at their apps, look at their integrations, look what they're bundling those, look at what those bundles are. And that's going to give you a good idea of where you need to be with your pricing, to come under, to meet it straight up. Okay. I have a ReachUC Plus license to do SMS text messaging. Do I also need an Express license to do click-to-call out of Outlook? That's a good question.
Yes. The Express license would include the click-to-dial out of browser-based and thick client applications.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, this is Eric. Can I comment?
Hey.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt. So we do have Chris, you're probably not aware, we do have a Chrome extension for ReachUC that does click to dial only. And that is not, there is no extra license required for that. That's a completely separate thing. Of course, with that, you only get click to dial. You don't get any of the other features that you would get with the ReachUC Communicator. It's a little confusing because they're both called ReachUC, but you can do click to dial without the communicator license.
Okay, thanks, Eric. We're going to get into call control a little bit. So what level of call control is offered on a connected call hold, transfer, and so forth?
So we are a little bit at the mercy of the API behind SkySwitch's hosted UC offering. We're working pretty directly with the platform itself and continuing to add new functionality to it. At this time, I'll have to confirm this. It would be to be able to answer the call and terminate the call. We are working on adding transfer capability and conference capability to the product as well in the caller ID preview. So historically, it was something that we were limited by the API, but we found a lot of success with this, and we're continuing to work towards it. The great thing is NetSapiens is really willing to look at us as a partner, and SkySwitch as well. So we're all in this together to continue adding additional call control and functionality to the product.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer there. Here's a question for you, and I guess it's leaning more toward custom development. I have a large client, $2 billion annual revenue, and they have a proprietary CRM built on MySQL. Is there any custom integration that you would do for something with this client?
Absolutely. So we see both market, as we would call them, niche CRMs, whether I'm a vet clinic or an automotive shop, etc. But absolutely, we work with custom databases all the time. There's some capability for the customer to utilize our product using ODBC, if they have familiarity with that. But ultimately, we do have the capability to work with a custom, 100% custom CRM that a customer has built. Hopefully, they have a contact on their end or someone internally that can help us to make ReachUC tied directly in with their database. So absolutely, and that's something I would say to reach out to Jason and his team when the opportunity presents itself, and we can absolutely talk about that.
Okay, fantastic. I got a question from Kristen. In the last 30 days, we've come across 2 customers that are upgrading their CRM system and are now also receiving a built-in hosted PBX system with that CRM system. Do you have any competitive information on why end users would want to use this built-in phone system with their CRM? I think, Kristen, we can kind of take this offline, but I can answer this for you real quick. It's all about the integrations, and it's all about, just the usability of it. If they can tie it in with their phone system and they can get a screen pop, take that call, transfer the call where it needs to go, it just provides a lot more proficiency within the business. And proficiency means time saving. Time savings means dollars saved. So yeah, you're seeing a lot more of that too. I mean, and that's pretty much what we're talking about, is the integration of our hosted PBX platform with Mondago to create that type of environment.
I think they're attempting to do the same thing that you are. You're attempting to create a sticky customer. You're attempting to add more value to that customer. Hey, this warm, fuzzy feeling of we can take care of all these things for you. It's what you do to your customers every day. Hey, I'm here to take care of you. And although I might be using numerous products to do this, I will give you one solution, one bill. And I remember in my days, I used to say one throat to choke. They're attempting to do the same thing. And now you can do that with a couple hundred CRMs and tie all these in for them.
Absolutely. Okay, do you have integration with dental software yet? So let's talk about dental, open dental. You have to go and please bookmark those integrations and take a look at those, because that's going to tell you what current integrations they have with specific CRMs. So please go into that and just look for that. If you want to just do a search for open dental, you can do that right now. But you know, again, I think that's probably a niche application here. All right. So we covered license costs, Thomas. It's $5 for CRM. It's $1 for Express. I'm getting rid of some of these here. For a startup that's not familiar at all with CRMs, is there any intro-level CRM program you would recommend that would allow for economical and easy integration? So what would be the easiest out of the box that you'd recommend?
I get this question a lot. I don't spend my days in the CRMs. I spend my day in ReachUC, kind of tying the telephony side in with the CRMs. If you Google search best CRMs on the market, you're going to be hounded by ads for the next 6 months, whatever you're doing, whatever browser you're in. What I would suggest is our standard list. I already had this open. Really, in my opinion, is a pretty good idea of what the worldwide leaders are. Some of these, if you do a little bit of research into, you'll see there's some significant costs. NetSuite, for example, is an ERP. I think you'll find if you're wanting a recommendation, I'm not gonna put my neck out there and recommend any of these. I think, in my opinion, what I see is a great entry level, great cost-conscious application would be Zoho, Sugar. Salesforce has some of that capability as well. So I would say to do your research, but in my opinion, the most common everyday integrations that we see that are, I know, cost effective would be, again, Zoho, Sugar. Salesforce has some capability for that. But there's quite a few on this list that you'll see are every day in the market. Dynamics is becoming more and more popular because most of us are paying for an Office 365 license already.
Okay. The next question has more to do with licensing. Can you add CRM licenses per user, or does all system users require it?
Great question. You can add and hopefully not, but remove licenses as necessary. So you'll find you may have the average 20 phone, 20 seat opportunity. 2 or 3 of those phones are in conference rooms and hallways and break rooms. But you may find it's only the administrative staff that is actually using the CRM. You may find it's just the 2 salespeople out of a business of 100 that need integration with Salesforce. So it is very much so a individual, how many users and what user needs CRM integration. It's very easy to add, and if necessary, it's very easy to remove a license. Again, I think it's another great way to spin the product to say, hey, this part of it's not the biggest commitment. Try it out, see what you think, and let me know if you want to add more users.
Okay. And then the next question that we have here, does this replace the SIP TAPI driver?
This may be a little more of an offline question. We don't offer a TAPI for the platform yet that would allow for inbound TAPI. One of the things that you'll see here in the dialing handlers is we do have a dial-only TAPI. So it could. TAPI is a whole other conversation that could get us off into the weeds for days here, but there is a dial-only TAPI driver built into the product along with the extension for each individual browser.
Okay. Eric, are you still on the phone?
I am.
Okay. So I don't know if you caught this one question,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna.
I did. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, we need specifics. It's like saying, does an electric screwdriver replace a regular screwdriver? The answer is it might, depending on, you know, what your particular needs are. Thomas, if you want to follow it up with an email to me, I'm happy to dive into that more.
Gotcha. And then the other question that we had was the SMS portion of it. Someone asked a question earlier about SMS. My customers are asking for a downloadable text stream so they can save their streams. I don't know if that is.
Yeah, this CRM integration tool is only for calls. It's not for SMS at all. It would be great I agree, to be able to get SMSs into the CRM. Have to look at that and talk to Chris's team. That's not something we've talked about yet.
Yeah, so once you're saving those notes, Chris, you know, being able to type notes and save notes back into the CRM, which you have forthcoming, being able to save that SMS stream too would be huge too.
That's something we can look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to let everybody know that once again, we have been recording this, and this will be sent to everybody, all the attendees today. So you'll be receiving that probably sometime this afternoon. We're going to post it up in the SkySwitch YouTube channel. We want to thank everybody for being on the call today. I want to give a special thanks to Chris Bloom for giving us an informative roadmap of Mondago, how it works, and implementation. So if you need anything as far as installation, get a hold of your SkySwitch sales representative and they'll be sure to help you. Thank you all for attending the SkySwitch University webinar series. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.